His sikum for the share on eating meat after dairy. For the sikum there's no shala, we're going to have to wait about 20 minutes.
Just we learned it, Bez Hashem, we learned Yikir Din, there's no chiyuv to wait after eating cheese before eating meat. So Gemara v'loy klum. In fact, some wonder how could you be machmir, it's keneged Gemara. But Lamaisa Gemara does require rechitza or checking, inspecting the hands, but it's better rechitza because just in case a person touched the cheese with his hands, it might cause a combination of basa b'chala. So rechitza is din Gemara, and also kinuach v'adach is also a din Gemara. As we explained, kinuach means basically to eat a food and swish it around the mouth and then swallow it to make sure nothing remains in the mouth, and adach means to rinse the mouth. Those are both in the Gemara and in Shulchan Aruch. And we should not be mazalzel, as we said, both from the Chasam Soifa and the Stipler. That's why we got the Torah, because the Malachim didn't make the either rechitza or kinuach and adacha. After milk, somehow there's no chi of kinuach and adacha because simply there's no residue in the mouth. Some hold, like Keret the Rambam holds, there is a chi, so that's questionable. But definitely after milk, one should at least rinse his mouth to make sure there's no milk remaining. But there is more tzad by milk and the coffee, certainly where the milk got mixed. There might be some form of a like plug, and that's why if we're using cutlery, even though you didn't touch the food, but some achosh you should make kinuach and adacha. Chicken after cheese, the ma'isa, the minig is to wait to make kinuach and adacha, even though mitzad Gemara it's mashpet, there's no chiyuv. Al pi zoya is a whole different story. The zoya was machadish or was megala that meat and cheese in the same hour or same suda is dangerous. It's not a steer to the Gemara, it's two different currencies, so to speak. Like the Zaya, it has to be a different hour and different suda. Now many are hold that the Zaya meant lav dafka an hour, even a half hour, but there has to be a different suda, and therefore those that are chayish for the Zaya will make a bracha achrayna in between the milk and the meat. If a person, of course, on Shavuos wants to be chayish for the minig, to have cheese and then meat, you'd have to put this lamaisa, this Zaya into practice. There should be an hour or half hour in between the cheese and the meat, and of course we should have the kinuach and adacha, what's necessary. Some are not chayish with the Zaya, as early as the Magen Avraham, Mishnah Berurah, or Chashulchan, and the Chamas Adam. But those that are chayish would have to make a bracha achrayna in between the milk before starting the meat, even though the bracha covers both, but you have to make it a different suda. Some are machadish that if you have an atilas yadayim, so that makes it into a separate suda, so even though you're using the benching for the previous food, some will make it with that, but basically the Zaya has a different concern, and therefore even if it's basa oif and even soft cheese, it's any type of meat with any type of cheese. Then there's the third part of the sugya in the hard cheese, which was aged 6 months, which physically is hard and presumably leaves bein hashinayim. There's another feature of hard cheese that the more it ages, the more it ripens or ferments, which is the wrong word, but the same idea, and it's moishech tam. So either is enough. Some hold you have to have both, but the poskim feel even one of the reasons is enough to require some weight. Now, if it is a hard cheese, so it's the same like eating cheese after meat. You'd have to wait 6 hours, or 5.5 hours, or 3 hours, depending on your minig regarding meat. But no doubt about it, the hard cheese, if you go with that shita, is like meat. It's like meat, and then having cheese. It's the same waiting of 6 hours. Most cheeses, rather, that we have, mozzarella, Munster, and mild cheddar cheese, do not have to wait. Parmesan, sharp cheddar, Swiss cheese. Basically, you have to read the label. You have to be an educated consumer. American cheese doesn't need waiting. Gevina Tehuva Eretz Yisrael is a different story. There, it was processed with the flavor. But what I really should have mentioned a little more clearer, that when you buy pizza or ekber and parmesan, you have to inquire if they use hard cheese. You know, I'm not going to make klolim because these things could change. But you have to know if it's parmesan or it's mozzarella. There's a world of a difference. Now, basically, melted is not enough of a heta, even though some are make because it's not hard, because it still has a strong taste. When you have a suffix, you could be makel, but a suffix in your D, you have to be mevarer. That's called a suffix shaitim. So you have to find out what type of cheese this is. B'shas atchak, we had to start to be makel, because there are some that are makel b'chlal with hard, and some say an hour is enough even after meat. So B'Shas Chag is what to be makel, B'Achatchila, if it's hot cheese, to wait 6 hours after hot cheese.
Ja, störe, Rabbi Yakov Zev, von Bolam Yedin, da Simcha, ganz Jahr, Rabbi Yakov Zev, please over at Lvov. Thousands of people fleeing to Lvov and from Lvov, and they want to get now hundreds of thousands of portions of food for people in Lvov because they're bombing Lvov and they're afraid the electric will go out. They want to bring from America, and we need hundreds of thousands of lumai to bring for Lvov. Please help out as much as you can. Call Ibn Shatter at 718-851-8651. Everybody should have a simple score, my good,